Welcome to the tutorial video for the Cancer Gene Detection Lab. Now this lab is really interesting because we have a chart of a family here, the grandfather, the grandmother, and all the children, and you can see the symbols that go along with them. For example, there's a male living with no cancer, the open square. You can see the black dot with the slash through it, female, deceased from cancer. So really just trying to look at kind of the genetic component of how the cancer has been passed down into the other generations. And here's some facts about all those different people in the chart. And you can use some of those symbols as information too. Now, that's the background. We're trying to figure out that how the gene mutation shows up in a gel electrophoresis. So the way we're going to detect cancer is to do some matching for some gel electrophoresis among different people. For example, there's a standard and a control band. There's blood DNA, there's tumor DNA, there's the breast DNA, and we're going to look at all those and see if they compare to the standard or the control lane. So let's see here. I've got to start with a hypothesis. How are we going to show the P53 mutation for the cancer? And remember, that relates to these lanes that we're going to test. I'll just take a guess. I'm going to take the first one. And now let's look at those different lanes. So starting with the first lane. Remember, it is going to show me a little video of how gel electrophoresis is done. We have to mix up the gel. We have to put it in the tray. We have to put micropipette the different lanes in and then put the current across it. And now check it with the dye to see how those different bands moved. Okay, and here we can see that. There you see lane 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So what is different about 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Well, we do have to measure them out. So I took lane 1, the standard. It says click the bottom well, and then each fragment. So we'll click the bottom well and fragments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. Now that just shows me kind of a cross section of the distance right to each fragment. I'm going to save that. And there's my standard. Now I do want to show you one other lane. Let's just pick lane 5, for example. Okay. So 5 is a normal breast. And I'm just going to skip the video, which is 20 seconds long. And let's go into lane 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, right? And we're going to save that. Now you can compare these different lanes and kind of get an idea of where they are compared to each other, right? How many fragments there are. But realistically, you're kind of looking at, right, where these marks are in comparison to lane 2, which is the control, right? This standard lane is just a test lane just to kind of lay it out and see how it works. 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the ones you're going to compare and start to understand how the P53 cancer gene shows up, right? Where does it show up? Okay. So please do all 5 of those lanes and start to understand how that mutation shows up and learn a little more about the pedigree chart in this cancer gene detection lab.